Welcome. We are at the first session of our statutory track of the UCLG World Congress in Tangier. We are very grateful that you have made it to this beautiful city, and we trust we will have meaningful, interesting meetings ahead. I am very pleased to welcome you all on behalf of the UCLG presidency that is sitting around me. I would like to start by acknowledging the mayor of Daejeon, who is the UCLG president, and that has joined us all the way from Korea. But I also want to acknowledge the mayor of Tangier sitting with us. He has a busy schedule. Many national representatives are going to be arriving to our city today, Mayor. Tangier has become our city, and he needs to take care of that. Also in the presidium joining us, we have the president of Nouakchott, that you know very well, the president of the South African Local Government Association, the mayor of Kitchener, the mayor of The Hague, the mayor of Konya, the mayor of Rabat. We are very happy that all of you have been able to arrive safely. In this Executive Bureau session, you are going to have introductory remarks, and a part of it is going to be chaired by our president, the mayor of Daejeon. Mayor Lee, the floor is yours.
존경하는 우리 동료 여러분, 그리고 친애하는 회원도시 여러분, 이곳 탕헤르에서 개최되는 UCLG 세계 총회에 UCLG 집행부 회의 여러분을 모시게 되어 매우 기쁘게 생각합니다. 먼저 이번 중요한 회의의 성공적인 개최를 위해 힘써주신 탕헤르 시장님, 또 모로코 시청 직원 여러분, 그리고 모든 협력기관에 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. UCLG 일원으로 다시 한자리에 모이게 되어 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 오늘 이 회의는 마침 UN 공공 서비스의 날에 개최된다는 점에서 더욱 특별한 의미를 갖습니다. 이번 총회는 보편적 지역 공공 서비스의 새로운 시대를 주제로 하고 있습니다. 불평등이 심화되고 불확실성이 증가하며 지역사회가 다양한 압박에 직면한 상황에도 지방정부는 매일 제공하는 공공 서비스를 통해서 주민의 존엄성, 포용성, 그리고 기회를 보장하는 최전선에 서 있습니다. 이번 임기 동안 우리 조직은 글로벌 과제 해결의 핵심 주체로서 지방정부의 역할을 강화하기 위해 노력해 왔습니다. 지역 다자주의 발전시키고 미래를 위한 협약에 기여하는 한편 향후 수년간의 공동 정치적 비전인 지역사회 협약을 마련하였습니다. 이를 통해 글로벌 거버넌스의 미래는 지역의 공동체를 기반으로 구축되어야 한다는 점을 보여주고자 합니다. 오늘 이 집행부회는 우리 조직의 제도적 책무를 논의하는 자리일 뿐만 아니라 지역 공공 서비스의 미래에 대해 함께 성찰하는 기회이기도 합니다. 국제 공공 서비스 노동조합 연맹과의 글로벌 협약 체결은 양질의 공공 서비스, 양질의 일자리, 포용적 지방 거버넌스를 향한 우리의 공동의의를 보여주는 중요한 이정표가 될 것입니다. 이번 임기 동안 보여주신 여러분의 헌신과 참여에 감사드리며 오늘 이어질 논의를 기대하겠습니다. 이로써 집행부 회의 개회를 선언합니다. 이번 회의의 안건은 이미 회의 참고자를 통해 전달해 드렸습니다만 혹시 회원 여러분께서 추가로 논의하고자 하는 안건이 있으면 말씀해 주시기 바랍니다. 없으시기 때문에 회의를 계속 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 존경하는 동료 여러분, UCLG 상반기 집행부 회의는 불과 2달 전 4월에 멕시코 시티에서 개최되었습니다. 당시 회의 주제는 인류를 위한 지역 사회협약 지방정부 움직임이 새로운 지평이었습니다. 이번 총회의 주제는 보편적 지역 공공서비스의 새로운 세대입니다. 이는 100일간의 지역 다자주의와 긴밀하게 연결되어 진행되었습니다. 이 자리를 빌려 다시 한번 따뜻한 환대를 베풀어 주신 멕시코시티 클라라 시장님께 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 동료 여러분께서는 이미 관련 보고서를 참고 자료를 통해 보고받으셨으므로 저는 이에 대해 더 자세히 설명하지 않겠습니다. 의견이나 수정사항이 없으시다면 멕시코시티 집행부의 결과 보고서를 채택해 주실 것을 요청드립니다. 감사합니다. 이제 지역 공공서비스 제공을 주제로 하는 지역 사회협약 안건으로 넘어가겠습니다. 캐나다 키치너 시장이자 UCLG 공동회장이신 베리 블로바노비치 시장님을 모시겠습니다. 감사합니다. 시장님.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Compañeros y compañeras, este punto marca un hito importante en la colaboración entre CGLU y la Internacional del Servicio Público. Siguiendo el mandato recibido de nuestros órganos de gobierno, ambas organizaciones han trabajado durante el último año para desarrollar un acuerdo marco global sobre diálogo social y cooperación, estableciendo un espacio estructurado para el intercambio entre los gobiernos local y regional y los trabajadores y trabajadoras de los servicios públicos. The agreement reflects a shared commitment to decent work, quality public services, equality, and inclusive governance, while recognizing the diversity of institutional realities across our membership. Beyond the agreement itself, this discussion invites us to reflect on a broader question: how can local public services continue to respond to growing inequalities, increasing social demands, and the multiple transitions affecting our territories? Public service workers are at the heart of service provision, and their contribution is essential to building resilient, democratic, and caring communities. Cet accord reflète un engagement commun en faveur du travail décent, de services publics de qualité, de l'égalité, à travers ce dialogue lié au processus de la coalition sociale locale, nous cherchons à placer l'avenir des services publics locaux et des personnes qui les fournissent au centre de notre agenda collective. It is now my pleasure to open this high-level dialogue and invite the Secretaries Generals of PSI and of UCLG to introduce this global social dialogue. And now I would like to invite Mr. Daniel Bertosa, the Secretary General of Public Services International, to the lectern to present to all of us. Thank you.
Does that work? Is there translation? Okay. I shan't start again. I'll continue from where I was. That's okay. I was just saying that it's a personal pleasure for me, as I've worked in local government for more than 10 years at the beginning of my career on both sides of the table. In many ways, for me, this is a sort of a homecoming. It's a personal pleasure and honour to be here, but especially because your Congress is focused on building a new generation of universal local public services. That's a vision that resonates deeply with our members. I was saying that today is special for two reasons. The first is that it's UN Public Services Day internationally, and that UN created this day to celebrate the value of public services, but also the workers who provide them. And so it's fitting today also marks a significant milestone in the relationship between our organisations. PSI and the UCLG are the most representative global organisations of local and regional government workers and leaders in the world. And we are two movements with very similar foundations. We're both very old. PSI was founded in 1907, and I believe your precursors were founded shortly after. Both are deeply committed to a local multilateralism that goes beyond states, a more inclusive multilateralism. And we both have a commitment to construction and creation, to building bridges. And that's getting harder and harder in an increasingly fragmented world, where governing for all of us is becoming harder and harder, but governing fairly is becoming even more challenging. So by signing this global framework agreement on social dialogue and cooperation, we're creating something that's been missing from the international architecture for over 100 years. A structured global space where representatives of local government, employers and workers can engage in social dialogue, joint action and joint construction. And it's never been more important, because our communities are facing multiple crises that we must respond to. Climate change, rising inequalities, demographic shifts, technological transformation, economic uncertainty are all placing unprecedented demands on local government and public services, whilst at the same time, years, decades even, of austerity, underinvestment, increased mandate, privatisation and workforce shortages have weakened local services in many countries. And we all know all too well that when public services deteriorate, trust in public institution declines. When people feel abandoned, democracy is weakened, and that affects us all. And because local government is the level of governance closest to the people, together we're uniquely placed and have a responsibility to show how effective, democratic and inclusive public institutions can improve people's lives on a daily basis. But we also know there can be no universal access to local public services without decent work for the people who provide them. And for us, decent work means respect for fundamental rights, respect for human rights, including freedom of association, collective bargaining, a healthy workplace, equality, dignity, and fair working conditions. Because when communities have access to clean drinking water, it's because water workers make it possible. When waste is collected, when disasters are managed, when libraries remain open or public health programs provide their services to our communities, it's because dedicated public service workers are delivering those services. But that relationship between local and regional government and public service workers is much more than just an employer and an employee relationship. It's a partnership that directly shapes the quality, accessibility and resilience, and that's becoming increasingly important, of public services. And it's possible because we share that common mission, to serve the people, to advance the public good. And this agreement provides a framework for doing exactly that, for talking about what matters and taking joint action. Because social dialogue is not an obstacle to change. It's one of the key conditions for its success, and for the delivery of responsive, inclusive public services. Because workers understand as well as anybody how services are delivered, where improvements are needed, and how to implement fair change, fair and sustainable change. And if we've learned anything from COVID, we've learned that the workers who provide the services understand what's needed in a crisis, when that change needs to happen fast. And in all this, we will be stronger if we work together, because together we can advocate for better financing, especially from central governments. Together we can promote workforce development and skills, and together we can deal with the just transition that is being foisted upon us at faster and faster speed. And we should never stop reminding people that local services, good local services, are the backbone of a thriving economy, a local economy that provides local prosperity for all. And when we do so, we do something that is more and more important in this fragmented world. We rebuild trust in democracy, we strengthen the social fabric, and we provide hope for those who have too often been left behind. For many people who don't see themselves in distant capitals and decisions made a long, long way away from them, but do see themselves in local services and local struggles. So today's signing is the culmination of more than a decade of cooperation between us, but it also opens a new chapter in our collaboration. Its success going forward will depend on all of us, on the leaders in this room, the employers and the workers using it, owning it, strengthening it, and filling it with meaningful action. To conclude, I'd like to thank Amelia for her vision. I'd like to thank the UCLG staff and the PSI staff for working on this and doing the hard work. I'd like to thank the local government and trade union leaders who do the hard work every day back in their local environments to keep the services running. And then on top of that, come together in these forums and support the agreement making and breathe life into this multilateralism that is a creative, constructive, living multilateralism based on solidarity that goes beyond a multilateralism of states. PSI wishes you success in your Congress. Our delegation is here, and we're looking forward to meeting with all of your leaders over the next few days. We wish you success, because your success is our success. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for that presentation. And it is timely that today is International Public Services Day. In fact, last week in Canada, we just celebrated Public Services Week across our country from coast to coast to coast. And as someone who started on the staff side before being elected, I sense more than many the important role that public servants play in our local democracies and in serving the citizens that we all serve together. So thank you again. And now I'd like to turn the floor over to our own Secretary General of United Cities and Local Governments, the always amazing Emilia Saez.
Thank you very much, and happy Public Services Day to everyone. You know, it is not a secret that for us in United Cities and local governments, our heroes are the mayors and the governors that are willing to face the day-to-day fight to make our lives better. It's not a secret. But I haven't met a mayor or a governor that does not consider the public workers they work with their own heroes. They know very, very well that local service provision is not possible if you do not have the workers behind. And let us face it, Daniel, this is not going to be an easy ride. It is not an easy relationship. It's a complex relationship because it is about labor rights, but it is also about changing the lives of people everywhere, every day. So we are not naive in thinking that this is going to be a very simple kind of relationship. The advantage that we have and what has convinced our political leadership to make this possible is that we have been working together for a very long time. We have been working together internationally, side to side, seeing eye to eye on many of the positions that we were defending and putting forward in key policy proposals at international level, in key policy agendas, from water to labor to habitat, to the Habitat 3 process, from housing to food security to transportation, to migration for that matter. we have been making very similar cases. And there was a point of inflection, I would say, for many things that was the case, but in particular for our relationship. I think the moment of COVID, when we all discovered the kind of the kind of boldness and creativity that you needed to deliver services at that very moment, I think our political leadership understood how significant it would be to have this kind of relationship. So I am very grateful. I'm very grateful to these wonderful representatives of the unions that are with us today and do deserve an applause. I'm so proud we have you sitting here in our executive bureau, face to face with our political leadership. Thank you for your patience, for your insights, for the willingness to work with us. At that moment, we realized that we needed to work together, not only to make sure that local and regional governments understood the importance of working conditions of public services workers, but that it was important for us to unite, like Daniel was just describing right now, to ensure that the international community understands that if you want to change the lives of people, you need a different type of financial architecture to deliver on the type of services that we need. That if you want to serve the dreams of people, the aspirations of families everywhere, in whatever form and shape they are, wherever they live, leaving no person but also no territory behind, we do need to come together to shape those future essentials, that new generation of local service provision that is going to determine how our day-to-day life is going to live. So in the spirit of this Congress, of our outcome document, we are looking for new missions for everyday life, new missions for essentials, and we need to define them together. Because as no others, public workers know what it takes to deliver and what people would like to see delivered. It is a significant moment for us because we are celebrating this International Day of Public Services, but also because we are formally starting the statutory track of our World Congress. A significant moment of diversity, our movement coming together. And just a few hours ago, we follow each other very closely, PSI and UCLG. Just a few hours ago, something like 5 hours ago, the social media of PSI was saying that in this Public Services Day, in this important celebration, they are ready to fight at local level to build global power. I am sure we identify with that, don't we? That is why we're here. So thank you very much for your trust, PSI, for your hard work. Thank you to our team, to the political representatives that have been part of that structural dialogue, and to my team that is making the effort to ensure that we find a way forward through which this partnership is not only a signed paper, but a true transformation of the type of policies that we propose together to the international community. Let us hope that public becomes the new trend. Happy day, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Emilia, for that presentation. And I think we all agree with you that this is really a monumental opportunity for both the elected leadership and the staff leadership, the public servants of our municipalities, to stand together and face some of the challenges that our planet is facing. I'd now like to invite both Daniel and Amelia to the end of the table on my left, on your right, where we will proceed with the formal signing of the Global Framework Agreement on social dialogue and cooperation between UCLG and Public Services International, marking the launch of a new chapter in our collective collaboration. Thank you very much to both of you, and special thanks to all the representatives of the public service that have joined Daniel here today and have joined our Congress as well. Welcome, and thank you for all that you and your members do in each of your jurisdictions in the service of our communities. OK, je voudrais maintenant inviter nos intervenants à partager leurs points de vue sur la manière dont nous pouvons renforcer la prestation des services publics locaux en tant que pierre angulaire d'un développement inclusif et durable. And our first speaker will be Madame Rohi Malik Low, the Mayor of Banjul. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Comrade Secretary General Daniel Betosa, Secretary General Emilia Sachs, colleagues and distinguished representatives of the workers of the day, or should I say of the world. I speak to you today not just as the Mayor of Banjul, but as a leader who has seen what happened when public service delivery is treated as an afterthought. In our cities across Africa and the global south, the front line is real. It is either about a woman waiting for water, a youth looking for work, or about a family seeking for health care. Public services are the very front line of dignity. They are the differences between a child surviving or thriving, between a community trusting its government or turning away. Honorable Chair, we in Banjul, we are proud to sit on this executive committee, but with that privilege comes a raw truth. We cannot speak of democracy when our people go to bed hungry. We cannot talk about the local social covenant if our public services are chronically unfunded and our workers are undervalued. This dialogue is not about theory. It is about the janitor in the school, the nurse in the clinic, the waste collector in the flood zone, to name a few. They are the face of the state. When their work is uncertain, the trust between our people and their government becomes uncertain too. That is why the launch of the Public Service International UCLG Global Framework Agreement on Social Dialogue and Cooperation is not procedurally formality. It is a lifeline. It is not just a document. It is a tool in our fight against inequality. Dear colleagues, let me be clear. You cannot have strong cities without decent work. And you cannot have decent work without a seat at the table for public service workers. In Banjul, we have learned that when we break down the wall between the mayor's office and the union hall, services improve, trust is rebuilt, garbage is collected, and the health clinic stays open. Honorable Chair, social dialogue is not a favor to unions. It is a way to govern well. When we sit with workers, we build better health policies. And when we listen to them, we protect cultural rights. It is therefore evident you cannot have public health without the dignity of the health worker. You cannot have cultural rights without the dignity of the teacher. We must stop seeing decent work as a cost. Instead, we must see it as the foundation of our ability to bounce back from crisis. I say this plainly. This bureau must move beyond big words. We must use the agreement to fight for the money we need to pay our workers fairly. We must use the town halls on public health and cultural rights to ensure that our policies are created with the communities we serve, not forced on them. Excellencies, let us leave Tangier with a promise that local public service is the solid ground of the local social covenant. Let us return to our cities and prove that when we visit, when we invest in public services and social dialogue, we are not just spending money, we are building peace. My city, Banjul, is ready to lead by example, and I'm sure we can do it. Let us work. We can do it. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mayor Lowe, for providing that perspective, that local perspective on a very global issue from your community. Next, I'd like to invite Ms. Marta Prates, the Mayor of Ruenos de Monsaraz in Portugal, to speak. Marta, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, Mr. Barry Vrabanovic, and all people in the table, all present, colleagues. I come from Reguengos de Monsaraz, a rural municipality in the south of Portugal, with the main city and 14 more villages spread across a large territory and a dispersed population. Like many rural territories around the world, we face challenges related to aging, mobility, access to health care, education, and public services. For us, inclusion is not only a social challenge, it's also a territorial challenge. People can become excluded not because of who they are, but because of where they live. That is why local governments have a responsibility to ensure that geography never becomes a barrier to opportunities. In Reguengos de Monsaraz, we try to respond through practical solutions that improve people's daily lives. And I would like to share a simple belief. Public services are not just administrative functions. They are the way democracy becomes visible in people's daily lives. In rural territories like mine, citizens experience public policies through concrete services, access to health care, mobility, social support, education, culture, and opportunities for active aging. Over the last years, we have invested in people-centered public services. We created the Regengos EcoBus to improve mobility and accessibility to the services. We developed a pedestrian network that connects people more safely to schools, health service, and public spaces. We support social institutions that work every day with vulnerable citizens. We promote active aging through programs such as our senior university and physical activity initiatives for older residents. We create dedicated policies for children and young people, including a specific department for childhood and youth, because inclusion must begin very early. In healthcare, although municipalities do not directly manage the health system in Portugal, we have chosen to invest municipal resources to improve people's well-being and access to care, because local governments cannot ignore the real needs of their communities. Our experience shows that quality public service are built through dialogue, proximity, and trust. They are strongest when they are designing with the people, not only for the people. And in a time marked by inequalities, the demographic challenge, and growing institutions, local governments have a special responsibility, because citizens may not always see national policies, but they see the bus that take them to a service, the support provided to an elderly person living alone, the safe route to school, or the social program that improves their quality of life. That is why I believe that investing in local public service is not only a social commitment, it is an investment in democracy, cohesion, and human dignity. Public services are where public trust begins, and trust is the foundation of every strong democracy. Thank you very much to all of you.
Obrigado. Thank you very much, Mayor Prates. Next, I would like to actually move to one of our representatives from the public service. And so I will move to Ms. Annie Enriquez Gueron, the President of the Public Service Labor Independent Confederation of the Philippines. Ms. Gueron.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. On behalf of the PSI Asia Pacific region, I also bring greetings of solidarity and happy Public Service Day. The just signed agreement really embodies very, very important values that we share and very important principles. And they are transparency, accountability, and participation as foundation of good governance. Around the world, we have seen how corruption undermines public trust, diverts resources away from essential services, and weakens democratic institutions. To effectively combat corruption and promote good governance in local and regional governments, three principles are fundamental, and I repeat, it's transparency, accountability, and participation. First, transparency ensures that government decisions, budgets, procurement processes, and public programs are open and accessible to citizens. When information is readily available, it becomes more difficult for corrupt practices to remain hidden. Transparency empowers citizens, civil society, and oversight agencies to monitor how public resources are managed and whether government action serves the public interest. Second, accountability ensures that public officials and employees are answerable for their decisions and action. Strong accountability mechanisms such as audits, performance reviews, independent oversight institutions, and effective sanctions for misconduct help deter corruption and reinforce ethical behavior. When workers know they will be held responsible for their action, they are more likely to act with integrity in accordance with the law. Third, participation. It gives citizens a meaningful voice in governance. Communities that are actively involved in planning, budgeting, monitoring projects, and evaluating public service contribute to more responsive and inclusive decision-making. Citizen participation not only improves policy outcomes, but also creates an additional layer of oversight that can identify irregularities and prevent abuses. These principles are interconnected. Transparency provides information to citizens' needs. Participation enables them to engage and raise their concern. Accountability ensures that concerns are addressed and wrongdoing has consequences. Together, they create a governance system that is more open, effective, and resistant to corruption. As local and regional governments are the levels of government closest to the people, they have a unique responsibility to champion these principles. By strengthening transparency, accountability, and participation, we can build public trust, improve service delivery, and ensure that public resources are used for the benefit of all. So let's make this agreement a living document. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Annie. And I just had the opportunity recently to celebrate Philippine Independence Day with my Filipino community in Kitchener, Canada. And so many of them are employed in the public service, committed to serving the community they live in, and particularly in healthcare and other health provision careers. And always remarkable to see the work that they do. Thank you. Okay, a continuación invito a Fernando Gray, alcalde de Esteban Echeverría, vicepresidente de CGLU para América Latina, a hablar.
Muy buenos días a todos y todas y un cordial saludo para quienes nos acompañan de manera presencial y también virtual en este nuevo Buró Ejecutivo de CGLU en el marco del Congreso Mundial de la Cumbre Mundial de Líderes Locales y Regionales en esta hermosa ciudad. Nuevamente quiero expresar mi profundo agradecimiento a las autoridades de Tangier, especialmente al alcalde Munir Laumuri y su equipo profesional. Quiero reiterar mi cariño y gratitud a toda la gran familia de ciudades y gobiernos locales y en particular a su secretaria general, nuestra amiga Emilia Sainz, y a nuestro actual presidente, Li Xiangwu, alcalde de Dajong. Asimismo, destaco el honor de compartir este encuentro con jefas y jefes comunales que trabajan tan fuertemente por nuestras ciudades. Es verdaderamente una alegría poder reunirnos aquí con líderes y lideresas de gobiernos locales para discutir un fenómeno tan esencial para la vida ciudadana como es la prestación de servicios públicos. Como vicepresidente para América Latina, vicepresidente de Mercociudades e intendente de Esteban Echeverría, tengo un especial interés en trabajar solidariamente con otros gobiernos locales en pos de ciudades de cuidado y de buen vivir para las personas y sus entornos. En lo particular, los servicios públicos ocupan un lugar medular para nuestra agenda en Esteban Echeverría y trabajamos plenamente para hacer realidad una nueva generación de servicios públicos que nos permitan, ante todo, cuidar la vida. Estimadas y estimados colegas, nos reunimos hoy para honrar el imperativo ético con el que nos hemos comprometido, liderar ciudades que cuenten con todos los servicios públicos universales, ya que sabemos, sin esa cobertura no podemos pensar en igualdad, ni en democracia, ni en paz. Y todas y todos los que estamos aquí debemos ser garantes de la dignidad humana sobre cualquier otra meta. Justamente ayer, en el encuentro del Foro de Autoridades Locales de la Periferia, FALP, conversábamos sobre el proceso de metropolización y las ciudades como epicentros de la vida. Y como representantes privilegiados de las ciudades, somos testigos directos de las desigualdades que se acentúan en las áreas metropolitanas. Por esta razón, bregamos todos los días y debemos profundizar nuestra lucha aún más para desterrar toda vulneración de derechos que puede existir en nuestras ciudades. Nuestra misión es representar a todas esas personas invisibilizadas por un desarrollo asimétrico y garantizar que las voces de nuestras metrópolis sean protagonistas de la construcción de un mundo más justo y sano. Estamos aquí porque nos importa sostener y acompañar vidas. No queremos ser meros gestores de economías locales. Nos urge una gobernanza centrada en el bienestar de las personas y no en simples algoritmos. Por eso, amigos y amigas, debemos dotarnos colectivamente de herramientas potentes para avanzar hacia ciudades cuidadas que cuidan y fortalecer nuestras capacidades para lograrlo. Y esto implica también priorizar y cuidar a las trabajadoras y trabajadores, que son la columna vertebral del sistema de servicios públicos y quienes son protagonistas de cada paso que damos hacia territorios más dignos. Colegas, no debemos esperar a que nos inviten a la mesa, ya que los jefes y las jefas locales somos protagonistas de la agenda de sostenibilidad. Y ese poder está en nosotros y nosotras para que la gobernanza global esté arraigada en la proximidad y la confianza entre la ciudadanía y sus representantes. Y sobre todo en liderazgos humanistas que nacen de una empatía con todas las personas y muy especialmente con las invisibilizadas del desarrollo urbano que vulnera derechos. Propongo una gobernanza comprometida con el buen vivir y el bienestar de cada persona, un futuro de espacios compartidos, no de oficinas remotas. Diseñemos una gobernanza centrada en la dignidad humana como única y verdadera meta de esta hoja de ruta que llevamos colectivamente. Muchas gracias a todos y todas.
Well, muchas gracias, Alcalde Gray. And now I'd like to move to another representative from the Public Services, and I would give the floor to Mr. Steve Joseph, the President of the Dominica Public Service Union. Mr. Joseph, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much, co-presidents, Secretary General of UCLG, PSI, our own Daniel Betoza, and team, co-presidents, governors, mayors. Greetings all. My union, the Dominican Public Service Union, and PSI's affiliates in the Caribbean bring solidarity greetings and, of course, happy Public Service Day to our millions of workers across the world. I am so very delighted to be associated with this model of cooperation between PSI and the UCLG for this historic global framework agreement on social dialogue and cooperation. This agreement seeks to sharpen and elevate a policy beam on the contribution of local and regional governments and LRG workers to development and the delivery of quality public services. It is a clear demonstration of the parties' commitment to decent work, quality local public services, and inclusive local governance. This step, my dear friends, colleagues, of signing the agreement is only a first step in many, and through structured dialogue and action, we aim to make the lives of people who live in cities and communities more enriching, safe, and promising. For LRG workers, this is not just an agreement. It is a fight for social justice. It is a step forward on the possibility of enjoying human rights. Labor rights essentially are human rights as well. It is about valuing the work that they do. The DPSU represents local and regional governments in our 42 local governments across the island. And we undeniably welcome and endorse this agreement. Across the Caribbean, sub-regions have taken this on board. Decent work in LRG is so very important for us as we confront so many crises. Climate impacts, I can tell you, literally killing our people. And workers need decent work to live safer, better lives to survive. They work to protect their families, their neighbors, and themselves. And so we must play our part to help build greater resilience in our cities, communities, and villages. I can tell you the hurricane season for us runs from June 1st through November 30th, for those of us in the Americas. And for us, we experience outside the hurricane season a trough in April that displaced countless families. So this is very real for us. My dear friends, the responders, the first responders were LRG workers and counselors. They are on the front line responding to our climate crisis. So a focus on loss and damage is welcome, but I dare say the pursuit of finance must include adaptation. We must build more resilient communities. I must emphasize the significance of this agreement to small island developing states and for localizing the SDGs. It certainly translates to having reciprocal action between the parties that will help identify priority thematic areas and sectoral processes for future global social dialogue, including looking at water governance, energy and waste management, funding for public services, attempting to address the issue around AI, digitalization, yes, but ensuring that we consider decent work throughout our action. So this is indeed a milestone. And certainly, as we work through our differences, I see that we are two sides of the same coin. We'll work through our differences and win for people, our workers, our local government. Solidarity forever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. And you know, as you were speaking, it's difficult not to reflect on the fact that, particularly after a natural disaster, and often when the families of the public service workers are also affected, these folks are having to step away from even dealing with their own crises to help their broader communities. So thank you for speaking to that issue. Nuestro próximo orador es señor Jordi Castellana y Gamisanz, vicepresidente de Asuntos Internacional y Metrópolis Digital del Área Metropolitana de Barcelona.
Thank you very much, dear Chair, co-chairs, colleagues, distinguished mayors and representatives of the delegation of the Public Services International. It is an honor to take part in this dialogue convened by UCLG and the Public Services International, especially at a key moment marked by the signing of the Global Framework Agreement on Social Dialogue and Cooperation. This agreement sends a strong and timely message. The future of local public services can only be built through collaboration, social dialogue, and shared responsibility between local governments and people who actually deliver these public services, the workers. I am speaking today on behalf of the Barcelona metropolitan area, a metropolis of more than 3 million people where public services are understood as the cornerstone of what we collectively refer to as the local social covenant. In a context of overlapping crises, social, economic, environmental, and democratic, public services are not just instruments of delivery. They are guarantees of rights, drivers of social cohesion, and foundation of trust. They are the basic structures on which our society is supported. Without good public services, our society would be more unequal and therefore more polarized. That means being less resilient against the authoritarianism which, both locally and globally, tries to undermine our social cohesion and our democratic values. Let me be clear, when social benefits are not at the center of our work, and that means for all of our society, regardless of where they come from, whoever they love, or whether they are men or women, democracy loses. Our approach is clear. Public services must be accessible, inclusive, and people-centered. Allow me to share 3 specific examples. First, ensuring the right to mobility through social tariffs. In the metropolitan transport system, we have developed social-first schemes to guarantee access for all, particularly for low-income groups, youth, unemployed people, and the elderly. This is not simply a pricing mechanism, it is a rights-based policy. Mobility connects people to opportunities and is essential to reducing inequalities. Second, promoting economic development as a social policy. Our economic development programs integrate social inclusion, job creation, and territorial balance. Working with municipalities, businesses, and social partners, we foster quality employment and ensure that digital and green transitions are fair and inclusive. This directly connects with SDG 8 and the shared vision of UCLG and PSI. There can be no strong public services without decent work. Third, digital transformation with inclusion and accessibility. As we advance in digital transformation, we are ensuring that public services, apps, and platforms are accessible to everyone, including persons with disabilities. Through inclusive design and adapt functionalities, we aim to reduce the digital divide and make technology a driver of inclusion. Technology must strengthen rights, not create new forms of exclusion. And finally, I'd like to highlight the central role of social dialogue. As recognized in the UCLG PSI Global Framework Agreement, high-quality public services depend on strong labor conditions and meaningful participation. In the Barcelona metropolitan area, social dialogue with trade unions and social partners is a core element of governance. It allows us to improve service delivery, strengthen labor rights, and build trust between institutions and communities. In conclusion, local public services are both the means and the end of the local social covenant. Building strong public services means building more inclusive, democratic, and resilient societies. From Barcelona, we reaffirm our commitment to the shared global agenda with UCLG and PSI. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing your perspectives from Barcelona. Maintenant, Madame Nadia Koubia, fonctionnaire et représentant syndicat du Maroc.
Mesdames et messieurs, chers représentants des gouvernements locaux, chers collègues, je suis fière de prendre la parole en ce moment historique marqué par la signature de cet accord entre la CGLE et la PSI. Et je suis fière que je suis contribué à la réalisation de cet accord au nom de PSI Afrique et Moyen Arabe. Et je suis fière de plus que c'est mon pays, le Maroc, qui marquera la signature de cet accord. Donc, je m'exprime au nom de la Fédération nationale des fonctionnaires des collectivités territoriales et de la gestion déléguée au nom de l'Union marocaine de travail. Avec une conviction essentielle, il n'existe pas de travail durable sans service public de qualité et il n'existe pas de service public solide sans travailleurs reconnus, motivés et respectés. Une collectivité territoriale ne se construit pas uniquement avec des projets ou des budgets, elle se construit avec des femmes et des hommes engagés, compétents, qui assurent la continuité des services publics locaux. Ils sont le lien direct avec les citoyens qui l'accompagnent au long de leur vie, de l'établissement de l'acte de naissance jusqu'à l'acte de décès, en passant par les divers services publics locaux, administratifs, sociaux, techniques, de propreté et de proximité. Ces travailleurs ne sont pas des simples exécutants, ils sont le visage des collectivités territoriales, celles et ceux qui transforment les décisions et les politiques territoriales en actions concrètes. Ils constituent la colonne vertébrale de nos territoires. Pourtant, ils sont souvent perçus comme des agents de second rang, alors qu'on leur demande davantage de performance, de modernisation. Ces objectifs ne peuvent être atteints sans leur fournir les moyens nécessaires, investir dans leurs compétences et améliorer leur situation professionnelle et sociale. Et nous ne pouvons pas construire des services publics d'excellence sans travail digne, reconnu et protégé. Et les expériences vécues montrent qu'il est essentiel d'écouter ces travailleurs et travailleuses et de mettre en place un dialogue social sectoriel, structuré et constructif qui doit servir d'outil de confiance et de bonne gouvernance afin d'améliorer leur situation et les conditions de travail et renforcer la qualité des services publics rendus aussi aux citoyens. Écouter les travailleurs, ce n'est pas seulement répondre aux revendications sociales, mais aussi reconnaître leur expertise de terrain. Ce sont eux qui assurent les services publics. Ils connaissent les réalités des quartiers, des territoires et les solutions pour les améliorer. Nous devons également ouvrir un dialogue transparent sur les modes de gestion de certains services publics locaux essentiels, notamment la délégation et l'externalisation de ces services locaux. La question centrale, est-ce que ces choix garantissent réellement la qualité, la proximité, la transparence, la justice et la confiance des citoyens? Les travailleurs et les syndicats, les élus et les citoyens doivent être associés aux décisions et trouver des choix ensemble. Car le service public n'est pas seulement une question de coût, c'est un droit, un bien commun et un pilier de la cohésion sociale. Mon appel aux élus locaux est clair, soyez les premiers défenseurs de vos agents, écoutez-les, associez-les aux décisions, reconnaissez leur engagement. Un agent reconnu devient un partenaire de la réussite collective. Investir dans les agents territoriaux et dans le travail décent, c'est investir dans la qualité des services publics. Renforcer le dialogue social, c'est renforcer la démocratie locale. Nous saluons l'accord cadre mondial entre CGLE et l'ISPI sur le dialogue social et la coopération qui porte un message essentiel. Le dialogue social est une force pour construire des services publics plus efficaces, durables et proches des citoyens. En faisant de cet accord ensemble une source d'inspiration pour renforcer partout la coopération entre gouvernements locaux et syndicats, pour construire ensemble un pacte social local avec des collectivités engagées, des agents publics reconnus et motivés, des conditions de travail dignes et des services publics de qualité et des citoyens satisfaits. Et merci.
Shukran, merci beaucoup, Madame Koubia. Merci infiniment d'avoir porté la voix des travailleurs de Tangier et du Maroc, notre ville et pays hôte. Continuation, invito a Cristian Zamora, alcalde de Cuenca y presidente FLACMA, a hablar.
Muy buenos días con todos. Good morning to everyone. I would like you to tell a story that brought a lot of health to people in our city and how public services can be well done, as we have heard already. First of all, in my country and many countries of you, healthcare systems are run by the central government, not by municipalities. And in that case, unfortunately, in Ecuador right now, the health system program, social program, it's really broken. People are literally dying because there's no medicine, there's no infrastructure in good conditions, and people are really suffering. Unfortunately, I hope that my country may do better in the following months. So what did we do as a municipality to help and cope with this situation that is terrible, seeing people dying, literally dying because there's no medicine and there's just pills for headaches and things like that. There's no more in the system after you have paid the social services, maybe along all your life. You get sick when you're old and you have nothing. Maybe that situation is similar to some countries, and I hope not that many because it's really sad. So what we did as a municipality, even though not having the competence, we asked for this, health competence I refer, and we built 3 hospitals. The first one, it's already functioning. It's been 3 months since it started to, bring services to people, and it has attended 20,000 people in my city in just 3 months. So you can imagine, just divide 20,000 by every single day, and you can imagine how many people are going there. And of course, it is not a free hospital, as it should be by the central government system health that is the responsible of this. But we came up with a model that it is exactly doing what people may need. Very low prices, the municipality put in budget to help this project go up front, and this is the lowest price that you can pay in any hospital in the city, even lower than the social foundations that give a very interesting service in any city and any country. So I wanted to share that municipalities have the flexibility to solve problems of people that we all know here because we belong to municipalism, and that has to be always strengthened and make it better every single time. So I wanted to share this specific story. The second hospital is going to be inaugurated in 1 month from now, and the third one by the end of the year. This is the only 3 hospitals built in the country in the last, period of the government that has been already 3 years. So I just wanted to share good news that if we empower, if we are close to the people, and we understand specifically what our citizens need, we can go even farther, that competences that belong to anyone else, but the life of people belongs to everyone, and we have to take action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Madame Rebecca Cespedes Alvarado, the representative of the Global Network of Local Government Workers of San Jose de Costa Rica, to say a few words.
Buenos días a todas las personas presentes en este importante evento, a la mesa principal y a cada participante. Qué mejor manera de celebrar hoy el Día Internacional de los Servicios Públicos con la firma de este acuerdo que nos llevó más de una década trabajarlo. Lo celebramos porque se instaura el diálogo social, la cooperación internacional, la libertad sindical, el trabajo decente, pero sobre todo los derechos humanos. Queridas autoridades municipales, nosotros, los trabajadores municipales, amamos nuestras ciudades y queremos lo mejor para nuestras ciudades. Nosotros, los trabajadores públicos municipales, estamos dispuestos a morir si es necesario cuando estamos con los mejores equipamientos para realizar nuestro trabajo. Queremos servir y que la ciudadanía, como ha empezado a comprender, lo privado no es lo mejor y se ha demostrado que lo público es más conciso, más rápido, de menos impuestos que lo privado. Quiero traer un ejemplo de mi país, que dichosamente está aquí el alcalde de mi ciudad, Johnny Araya, que fue uno de los que llegó a comprender que el trabajo público era de mejor calidad. Y con él tuvimos un gran trabajo, ¿verdad, don Johnny? Para que se diera en la ciudad de San José y fue ejemplo para todo el país. La recolección de los residuos sólidos era mejor en en servicios públicos que en manos privadas. Recuperamos el servicio privado al servicio público. Tuvimos un acercamiento entre alcaldía, la comunidad y los trabajadores municipales. Somos conscientes que los trabajadores municipales tenemos muchos derechos, pero también tenemos muchos deberes y debemos de servir a nuestras autoridades municipales y a nuestro país de la mejor manera y de la mejor calidad. En Latinoamérica tenemos firmada ya en la presidencia de doña Ana Lucía. Con FLACMA tenemos una carta de entendimiento y bueno, pues creo que fue ejemplo para llegar hoy a este acuerdo aquí. Y quiero decirles que aquí estamos nosotros, la Internacional de Servicios Públicos, señores autoridades municipales, búsquennos, nosotros con mucho gusto les ayudamos a que sus trabajadores brinden los servicios públicos de la mejor manera. Podemos ser una guía para que se den el trabajo de la forma más efectiva y de más calidad, siempre que prevalezca lo público. De mi parte, quiero agradecer la confianza de mi secretario general, Daniel Bertosa, por formar parte de este equipo técnico para la creación de este acuerdo, a Daria y a Sandra, que fueron nuestra gran guía, y a cada uno de mis compañeros con el cual forjamos este acuerdo. Quiero agradecerle a Emilia la confianza que nos ha tenido y la paciencia, porque somos sindicalistas, somos un poquito insistentes, minuciosos, como se dice en mi país, necios, pero gracias a CGLU y a cada una de las autoridades por confiar en nosotros, a ese maravilloso equipo de la CGLU que también tuvo paciencia, y también un agradecimiento muy especial al equipo técnico de autoridades municipales que también fueron muy resilientes y resistentes con los sindicalistas. Gracias a cada uno porque demostraron el valor que nos tienen a los empleados públicos municipales. Les deseamos muchos éxitos en este evento y en los que vengan más adelante a cargo de ustedes.
Muchas gracias, señora Alvarado. Maintenant, notre dernière personne est Monsieur Philippe Malaz, un membre du comité exécutif de la Fédération Interco-CFDT de France. Monsieur Malaz.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Merci à vous toutes et tous pour l'invitation. Quand on prend la parole en dernier, dans ce genre d'événement, forcément, tous les grands enjeux et les grands défis ont déjà été évoqués. Du coup, permettez-moi peut-être d'apporter un regard un peu plus poétique sur ce qui nous réunit aujourd'hui. D'abord, je me réjouis de voir qu'on a tous à cœur de se dire que la politique, c'est d'abord apporter de l'espoir. Et c'est ce qu'on est en train de faire aujourd'hui. On apporte de l'espoir pour les lendemains qui arrivent. Cet accord, pour moi, c'est vraiment comme une pierre précieuse. D'abord, on le voit de loin, il brille. Et il brille parce que c'est le premier accord mondial qui est signé pour les administrations locales et régionales entre les employeurs et les travailleurs. Donc déjà, c'est une très belle lumière. Et puis, quand on s'approche de cette pierre précieuse, on découvre qu'elle a de nombreuses facettes qui sont très intéressantes. La première de ces facettes, c'est déjà effectivement la reconnaissance que les travailleurs des services publics sont les premiers défenseurs des politiques publiques que vous mettez en œuvre, que vous réalisez. Et quand on leur donne de bonnes conditions de travail, c'est vraiment les meilleurs défenseurs de la qualité des services publics, et cet accord, il le reconnaît. La deuxième facette de cette pierre précieuse, c'est que cet accord, c'est vraiment un formidable outil pour aborder les enjeux de demain, ceux qui arrivent, le changement climatique, l'accès aux ressources pour tous, la défense de la démocratie et des droits des travailleurs. Ensemble, là, en ce moment, on est vraiment en train d'inventer la ville et la vie de demain pour les citoyens dont nous nous occupons. La troisième facette, on est dans un monde où il y a beaucoup de dirigeants d'État qui remettent en cause le multilatéralisme. Et nous, aujourd'hui, on est des représentants du monde entier, des gouvernements locaux et du monde entier des travailleurs qui se tendent la main, qui se parlent, qui travaillent ensemble. Travailler sur cet accord, ça n'a pas été tous les jours facile. On a dû chacun faire des pas pour apprendre vraiment à connaître le monde de l'autre, son environnement, ce qu'il défend. Mais ça s'est toujours fait avec une grande volonté des deux côtés d'y arriver, de créer quelque chose de nouveau et de porter quelque chose de nouveau. Et ça, c'est vraiment quelque chose d'extraordinaire dans un monde où on a énormément de crispation dans les discours et dans les échanges avec une grande partie des États. Et c'est le cas en particulier dans mon pays et dans beaucoup de pays européens. Une autre facette encore, c'est que je suis vraiment persuadé que cet outil et calendrier d'action qu'on est en train de construire pour la suite, ça va vraiment faire tache d'huile et renforcer partout dans le monde les liens entre les gouvernements locaux et leurs travailleurs et aussi avec les organisations internationales face justement à des États qui sont parfois réticents à nous laisser la place suffisante pour donner notre avis sur le monde de demain que l'on veut. Alors bien sûr, et ça a déjà été dit, cet accord, ce n'est pas un aboutissement, au contraire, c'est vraiment la première pierre d'un processus en commun et je pressens que ce processus, il va être très productif pour nous tous et in fine, il va du coup être très productif pour l'ensemble des habitants des territoires pour lesquels nous travaillons. Et pour finir, j'ai envie de dire, de reprendre une expression arabe et de dire « Yallah ».
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Malaz, pour votre mot et aussi merci à toutes et à tous. Avant de céder la parole aux membres, j'invite Monsieur Anthony Berthelot, vice-président de la métropole de Nantes, à prendre la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le coprésident. Déjà, j'aimerais remercier Tangier pour son accueil et remercier son maire pour cette journée, cette organisation merveilleuse. Je suis extrêmement heureux de nous revoir dans cette salle pour ce dernier bureau exécutif. C'est un symbole fort dans ce monde qui s'affole, comme il a été dit d'ailleurs tout à l'heure. Donc, vraiment heureux d'être présent parmi vous dans cette salle. Je tiens en premier lieu à féliciter cet accord entre CGLU et PSI, puis exprimer aussi la fierté et l'honneur pour Nantes Métropole d'avoir pu participer à ce travail technique qui a mené à cet accord. Je crois qu'avec cet accord, c'est une vision du monde que nous partageons, basée sur la démocratie, le respect des droits humains, l'égalité des genres et la préservation de notre planète. Dans nos villes, les employés des services publics sont les forces vives qui, avec nous, défendent et renforcent nos biens communs au bénéfice de nos populations et de nos territoires. Alors défendre les salariés, c'est défendre nos services publics. Et il faut ouvrir les conditions d'un réel dialogue social au niveau local, au niveau gouvernemental et au niveau international. Comme je l'ai dit hier, le CCRE renouvelle sa volonté à contribuer à la réussite et à l'application de cet accord, en étant un partenaire stratégique en termes d'expérience et de développement des capacités. Emilia et beaucoup d'autres l'ont dit ce matin, le financement des gouvernements locaux est un enjeu majeur, ça demeure et ça reste un enjeu majeur que nous devrons partager ensemble. Mon collègue français l'a dit, il faut qu'on arrive à trouver les espaces pour être à la table des décisions, ou tout au moins à la table des discussions. Donc là, c'est le co-chair du Conseil politique des financements qui vous parle, car nous avons des défis à relever ensemble dans lesquels nos salariés sont fortement engagés, qu'ils concernent l'eau, l'assainissement, l'intelligence artificielle, le numérique et bien d'autres encore. Alors cet accord, pour moi, ce n'est pas une finalité heureuse, mais c'est bien un nouvel élan pour une coopération fructueuse. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Berthelot. Merci, Mesdames et Messieurs. Les membres du bureau, la parole est ouverte pour les commentaires et les réactions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for maybe 2 or 3 more interventions before we conclude this segment of the morning and move on to the next item of institutional affairs. Are there any other speakers that would like to have an intervention? Señora Paola Pavón.
Buenos días a todos y todas. Quiero expresar mi felicidad y mi satisfacción por estar en Tánger. Llegó el día. Gracias al equipo de CGLU por la organización y también a nuestros anfitriones. No tenía previsto hablar, pero quiero expresar lo orgullosa que me siento de pertenecer a una organización que el día de hoy ha suscrito un compromiso de diálogo permanente con los trabajadores y con quienes representan a los servidores públicos. Quiero también traer la voz del sur global y expresar una realidad de América Latina. Mientras algunos estados siguen fortaleciendo sus servicios públicos, mientras creen profundamente en el estado de bienestar, en América Latina estamos viviendo un retroceso profundo sobre la prestación y la calidad de los servicios básicos. Hace un momento el alcalde de Cuenca, también viene de Ecuador, señalaba la grave situación de los servicios públicos. Yo quiero comentarles que en el 2025, con un acuerdo ministerial, se despidió a 5,000 funcionarios públicos. De 20 ministerios que prestan servicios públicos se redujeron a 14 ministerios y de 9 secretarías se redujeron a 3. Un año después, hace pocos meses, se emite un decreto para una nueva reducción de 14 a 10 ministerios. La pregunta es, ¿quién va a prestar los servicios públicos que día a día demanda la comunidad? Quisiera instar a los gobiernos locales que hemos discutido constantemente nuestro rol en primera línea de ampliar esos servicios básicos y ampliar esos servicios básicos también con un enfoque de género. Es fundamental que los gobiernos locales tengamos política pública y servicios públicos para el 50% de la población en nuestros territorios. Esto significa políticas de salud y servicios de salud para nuestras mujeres. Esto significa servicios que puedan permitir que las mujeres que sufren violencia tengan asistencia permanente. Esto significa que las mujeres que están desarrollando actividades económicas tengan acompañamiento. Los gobiernos locales tenemos que prestar servicios públicos porque es la manera en que se concreta la política pública y se acerca el gobierno local a los ciudadanos y a las ciudadanas. Y finalmente quiero expresar desde este espacio la solidaridad para los servidores públicos que en mi país y en varios países de América Latina están viviendo momentos de angustia, de estrés, producto de la inestabilidad, pero también de la angustia de no poder atender a los ciudadanos de la mejor forma. Los médicos, las médicas están viviendo una situación de estrés brutal. Si no tienes insumos médicos, si no puedes recetar a tus pacientes lo que tienes que recetar, si no puedes tener elementos mínimos para una operación, el estrés y la angustia de médicos, médicas, enfermeras es brutal. La angustia de los maestros que están siendo acosados por el crimen organizado y que ven cómo en sus escuelas los grupos de delincuencia organizada captan a los niños, están viviendo situaciones de estrés. Para mí ha sido muy doloroso escuchar a maestros que dicen prefiero jubilarme a tener que seguir enfrentando y viendo cómo perdemos a nuestros niños y a nuestras niñas. Así que lo que estamos haciendo hoy aquí en este foro mundial es fundamental porque nos da la esperanza para varios países de América Latina, para Bolivia, para Argentina, para Ecuador. Tenemos que seguir fortaleciendo y defendiendo los servicios públicos porque esto tiene una connotación política profunda. Esto no es técnico. Estamos discutiendo sobre dos modelos. Un modelo que cree en lo público y que cree que el Estado tiene que garantizar derechos mínimos, esenciales para la población, y un modelo que busca debilitar lo público para beneficiar el negocio privado. La representante de Costa Rica hace un momento decía, lo público puede ser mejor. Es cuestionable en algunos sectores. Puede ser que lo privado también tenga calidad, pero lo que no puede pasar es que las decisiones de los gobernantes y de los estados sea menoscabar la salud pública para privilegiar el negocio de la salud, menoscabar la educación pública para privilegiar la educación privada, acabar con la universidad pública para que las universidades públicas privadas puedan seguir enriqueciéndose. Eso es lo que no podemos permitir. Y esa también es una disputa ideológica y una disputa de modelos. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señora Pavón. And next up, I have Andreas Walter from Cologne.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. So, first of all, thank you to the technical staff from UCLG to prepare this this commitment and this agreement. And I'm very proud that this agreement is signed now, and it is makes me proud that it is a powerful agreement for the coming work. Workers play a decisive role in responding to the growing social, economic, and environmental challenges. And Germany is a federal republic, so all public services, from energy to transport, health, hospital, housings, are since generations in the responsibility of cities. So for us, good governance, transparency, democratic structures, and inclusion are important values. But also we know the challenge is not to leave anyone behind, not the citizens, as well as our workers. And we have thousands of them in the responsibility of our cities. So we know it, and so the German sections of LGA would like to show our interest to participate also in the common work in the steering committee, and we would like to share our knowledge and our by our experts from RGIA in this committee. So thank you for this. Thank you.
Dankeschön. Thank you very much, Herr Walter. I have one speaker at the back. Yes, señor, at the back.
Hola, muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Dante Velázquez, soy intendente, alcalde de la ciudad de La Quiaca, provincia de Jujuy, República Argentina. La ciudad que se encuentra en la frontera con Bolivia. En primer lugar, quiero agradecer profundamente a los organizadores la bendita posibilidad que a uno, quienes somos y estamos reunidos acá, que somos la primera puerta, el kilómetro cero, de encontrarnos. La posibilidad cierta de hacer muchos kilómetros, pero con la ilusión de lo que quienes me han precedido la palabra, de entender y comprender en el momento crítico en que se encuentra el mundo y las situaciones particulares que viven los municipios. Por historia, por sentido de pertenencia y por profundidad inmensa, la Argentina es un vasto territorio que ha cobijado a lo largo de su historia a todo el mundo y lo sigue haciendo. Vengo con la firme proposición no solamente de participar, no solamente de estar acá como uno más, sino traer la voz de mi pueblo del norte argentino, y agradecer a la fama, flagma, de quien también soy parte, de poder estar acá. Quiero contarles a todos que la Argentina se está viviendo momentos muy tristes y complicados. La situación desgraciada, y adhiero a las palabras de quienes me han precedido anteriormente, del estado presente que muchas veces recae sobre las manos de los municipios, de las alcaldías, de tener que resolverlo todo. En la Argentina, desde el 10 de diciembre del 2023 que hubo el cambio de autoridades, en lo que se refiere al impuesto al combustible, por ejemplo, lo que ha retenido el gobierno nacional no vuelve a las provincias y por ende no vuelve a los municipios. Hay un 6.5 billones que no han regresado y por lo tanto las accesibilidades, las carreteras no están funcionando, no tienen reparación. Ni qué hablar tampoco sobre lo que significa la universidad pública, el quite del presupuesto, la posibilidad cierta de ir en contra de los derechos de los trabajadores, la posibilidad cierta de tener que ir en contra de los discapacitados, de los jubilados. Sin embargo, tenemos que nosotros ser los municipios quienes enfrentamos a diario esta realidad. Por eso es que vengo acá, con la firme intencionalidad de tener que no solamente aprender, como nosotros por ahí decimos en el norte, desburrarnos y tener que llevar no solamente la confraternidad, la esperanza, de tener que encontrar a partir de este buró, a partir de este encuentro, seguramente mejores posibilidades. Mi tierra, que es La Quiaca específicamente, es la zona de frontera de Bolivia. Recién pasaba y escuchaba algunos minutos en el encuentro de África. La ciudad de La Quiaca en zona de frontera tiene 320 kilómetros de extensión con Bolivia y 60 con Chile. Hemos desafiado hace poquito y se aprobó la segunda zona franca en la Argentina y que va a estar en mi ciudad, en la ciudad de La Quiaca. La posibilidad de generar vínculos de apertura nacional e internacional ya está concretado. La posibilidad de poder encontrar que las zonas de frontera no sean más borde, sino las verdaderas plataformas estratégicas. Porque muchas veces se habla de los puertos, pero no se habla de los puertos secos. Y esta es la historia, donde nosotros tenemos que generar mejores y más oportunidades. Por eso es que celebro esta oportunidad. Doy gracias a la participación. Y invito a tener que seguir haciendo este tipo de encuentro en donde nos encuentren nosotros confraternizados, abrazados, con la firme esperanza de tener que generar una patria más libre, justa y soberana. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Intendente Dante Velázquez, Municipalidad de La Quiaca, Argentina. And I think it's only fitting that our last speaker for this session this morning comes from a country where public service workers have truly been experiencing the challenge of serving their community. I'd give the floor to Abdel Karim Al Zubaydah, President of the Association of Palestinian Local Authorities.
شكرا. بداية أشكر منظمي هذا المؤتمر وأشكر مدينة طنجة على هذا الجمال. استمعت لغالبية الكلمات التي تم تقديمها، ولكن أعزائي وأنتم تتحدثون عن الفئات المهمشة، تذكروا أن هناك 14 مليون فلسطيني مهمشين، وأنتم تتحدثون عن الاستدامة، تذكروا أن هناك مدن كاملة لا زال يتم هدمها في فلسطين، وأنتم تتحدثون عن المساواة، تذكروا أن شكل المساواة الوحيد الذي يحصل عليه الفلسطيني هو الموت، الموت للشيخ والمرأة وللطفل وللجميع بلا تفريق. وأنتم تتحدثون عن الكوارث الطبيعية أعزائي، تذكروا أن هناك كوارث من صنع البشر أكثر أثراً وألماً من الكوارث الطبيعية، هي الكوارث التي يفعلها الاحتلال. فآخر كارثة في غزة وفي الضفة الغربية خلفت ما يقارب 400,000 معاق، عدا عن 70,000 قتيل في هذه الحرب. لكن أعزائي يعني أطمئنكم، الفلسطينيين شعب قوي، شعب يحب الحياة، شعب لا زال يعمل، وأكبر دليل أن أهم المدن الفلسطينية هي مشاركة على هذه الطاولة. لديكم مدينة الخليل، مدينة بيت لحم، رام الله، العديد من البلديات والمشاركين الفلسطينيين، وهذا مؤشر. الفلسطينيين لديهم رسالة سلام إلى العالم، رسالة أن الفلسطيني مصر على أن ينال حقه، مصر على الحياة، ولا زلنا نشارك العالم في التنمية، في التعليم، في الصحة والاستدامة وفي رخاء العالم. أشكركم جزيلا أعزائي.
Shukran, and thank you very much for those powerful words. Know that there are few places in the world that understand as deeply as the room that you're in right now, the difficult challenges that you and the Palestinian people face. And know that we continue to pray for peace in your homeland, as we do in all areas of conflict in the world. Well, my friends, that brings this segment to a close. I would now like to invite the Executive Bureau to endorse the launch of the Global Social Dialogue on this International Public Services Day between local and regional governments and public service worker representatives. Do I have everyone's agreement to endorse this? I do, thank you. And so I would now like to hand the floor back over to our president for the final segment this morning on institutional issues. Mr. President.
감사합니다, 공동회장님. 이제 이번 회의의 마지막 순서입니다. 조직 운영과 관련한 사항들에 대해서 논의를 하고자 합니다. 먼저 재정관리위원회 결과 보고를 진행하겠습니다. 회원 여러분께서는 잘 아시다시피 이 위원회는 재무 담당관을 비롯한 집행부의 재정 관련 사항에 대한 자문을 제공하는 역할을 수행하고 있습니다. 그럼 지난주에 개최된 위원회 회의 결과 보고를 위해 재무 담당관이신 모로코 라바트 시장님을 모시겠습니다.
Thank you very much. Is it working? I guess so. Thank you. So thank you very much, Chair. First of all, allow me to welcome all of you to Morocco and to the beautiful city of Tangier. So, dear colleagues, the members of the Financial Management Committee met virtually on the 15th of June to monitor the financial issues of the World Organization. The main items analyzed are hereby reported to the Executive Bureau. The first item is about the certified accounts of 2025. The Financial Management Committee received the audited accounts of the year 2025 and noted the final positive results of €583,836.90. The audit reports can be consulted on our UCLG Meets platform. Following the analysis of the accounts, the committee recommended to the Executive Bureau to submit the following decision to the World Council: to approve the final accounts for the year 2025, to carry forward the totality of the €583,836.90 positive result to the organization's accumulated surplus, and to give final discharge to the Presidency, Treasurer, and Secretary General for the year 2025. Second item, a realization of the current year 2026 budget, Regarding the execution of the 2026 budget, members were informed that activities undertaken during the first 5 months of the year were in line with the conservative budget approved 1 year ago. I am also pleased to inform the Executive Bureau that all the financial commitments related to the 8th UCLG World Congress have now been settled by our hosts, the City of Tangier and the Moroccan Association. Third item about the budget of 2027. So the draft budget for the year 2027 amounting to €5,330,000 was presented to the committee and approved by its members. The draft budget for 2027 will be submitted tomorrow to the World Council for adoption. Final item about requests by members. In the spirit of solidarity and following requests received from members and sections, the committee approved membership fee exemptions for the year 2026 for all Palestinian, Lebanese, and Ukrainian members, given the current critical situation. So this summarizes the key issues covered. Thank you again, Chair. Thank you very much.
감사합니다. 회원 여러분의 의견이나 혹시 질문 있으십니까? 없으시기 때문에 재정관리위원회 결과 보고서를 채택해 주실 것을 집행부에 요청드립니다. 다음으로는 법정위원회 결과 보고를 진행하겠습니다. 이 위원회는 우리 조직의 모든 제도적 사항 및 조직 운영과 관련한 모든 사항을 감독하는 위원으로서 특히 총회가 개최되는 해에는 선거 절차 전반을 감독하는 책임을 맡고 있습니다. 지난주 개최된 위원회 회의 결과 보고를 위해 아프리카 지자체 연합 회장이신 UCLG 공동 회장이신 베키 스토필 회장님을 모시도록 하겠습니다. 베키 회장님.
Okay. You know, Perry, it's good to sit next to me so that you can help me. Thank you very much. Greetings to the Leadership Collective from different walks of life. I'm presenting the report on the Committee on Statutory Affairs to this Executive Bureau. The committee met on statutory affairs online on the 16th June 2026 after holding an extraordinary meeting on the 1st June. Both meetings aimed at finalizing the revision of the nomination to the governing bodies and agreeing on the conduct of elections for this Congress. The General Assembly will receive this afternoon a more thorough report on the overall election process. The committee reviewed the nomination to the World Council and Executive Bureau, taking into account the consultation undertaken by the World Secretariat with all sections. Discussions focused on eligibility, requirements, membership status, representation, balance, the treatment of new members, and other specific issues. The committee also considered the request submitted by ASPEC regarding the possible allocation of an additional Executive Bureau seat. However, sections of UCLG confirmed they would make use of all their seats at the Executive Bureau. The committee thus recommends maintaining the current allocation of Executive Bureau seats. Dealing with the UCLG meetings in 2027, and when I get to this point, Emilia, the Secretary General, will help where I find difficult to pronounce. The committee receives information regarding the proposed calendar of statutory meeting and major institutional events foreseen for 2027. Members were informed of the proposal submitted by the mayor of Neteria. Oh, okay. to host the first session of the 2027 Exec Bureau. In conjunction with the OIDP, currently envisaged for May 2027. The committee also received information regarding discussions with the South African Local Government Association, the Gauteng Province, and FIMSI concerning the organization of the 2027 World Council in conjunction with the 7th World Forum of Local Economic Development, expected to take place in Johannesburg in October 2027. Members noted that the proposed arrangements seek to strengthen the synergies between statutory meetings and major international events while reducing traveling requirements and maximizing opportunities for participation and visibility. The committee further took note of the preparation of the 7th UCLG Culture Summit, expected to take place in that country in September 2027, as well as the possibility of an additional presidency meeting at the end of 2027, subject to the priorities and needs identified by the newly elected leadership. The committee welcomed the expressions of interest received from members willing to host statutory meetings and thanked the municipalities and partners concerned for the commitment to the organization. The committee supported the continued exploration of arrangements to hold the 2027 statutory meeting in the country that already mentioned and in Johannesburg, and mandated the World Secretariat to continue consultations with the prospective hosts. And this is the report that we are presenting before this Bureau for consideration. Thank you very much, President.
이와 관련해서 우리 사무총장님의 추가 설명이 있도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you very much, President, and thank you, Co-President Estofile, for informing us of the decisions by the committee. I just wanted to reiterate the meaningfulness for the World Secretariat to receive proposals to host our committees and our statutory meetings. These are serious investments that are not reflected in our overall budget of the organization. This is the kind of contribution that our membership are doing to the World Organization. So it is extremely important for us to continue receiving this type of proposals. And from where I am sitting as Secretary General, you can imagine I feel very calm and very confident that we know where we could be going next year, and I am hoping that you will ratify this. We have concrete proposals for our Executive Bureau in Niteroi and concrete proposals as well for our World Council. So my thanks to the members, and just wanting to emphasize how relevant this is for the work of the World Organization. And another issue which is not that minor and that I wanted to bring to your attention, as you all know, following the Committee on Statutory Affairs and the firm decision that was taken there to ensure that the lists of the nominees to the World Council that are going to be confirmed this afternoon by the General Assembly and will be casting their votes on the 25th around our electoral process, we did all we could together with my colleagues, the Secretary Generals of the UCLG sections, to indeed close those lists, send them to all of you, uploading in our UCLG meets. These are hundreds of names, hundreds, literally, over 600 names that we need to carefully look at to inform our membership, etc. And in this process, there have been minor adjustments that you will see on writing this afternoon that are already uploaded in the list in UCLG Meets. You will get a physical copy this afternoon. There is only one change that I am aware of that I want to inform right now because it's related to the Executive Bureau. As you know, there was a request from the Asia Pacific section to have an additional seat for the Executive Bureau, and the Committee on Statutory Affairs mandated the Secretariat to explore whether there were any seats that were remaining vacant from other sections, and then in that case, the committee expressed they would not oppose the use by UCLG ASPAC of that additional seat in the Executive Bureau, not the World Council, in the Executive Bureau. I am emphasizing this because, as you know, it is the World Council that casts votes on the 25th, not the Executive Bureau. So with that clarity, I want to inform that my colleagues were really hard, looked at different options, and we have found a solution because there is a seat that would not be used in Latin America in order to make the discussions in UCLG ASPAC a little bit easier. We know that it's a very large region and that there are problems coming to consensus there. So with the acknowledgement that this seat will not change anything for the elections, with the acknowledgement that the committee was in principle in agreement to do that shift if there was no opposition, and with the agreement of the Latin American section, very knowledgeable that these are not agreements between secretariats, that this is to you, to the Executive Bureau to decide, we hope you do accept that additional seat in the Executive Bureau for UCLG ASPAC, and you will be informed in this manner by the General Assembly this afternoon. Thank you very much, Chair.
감사합니다. 회원 여러분의 의견이나 혹시 질문 추가 있으십니까? 예, 어느 분께서
Buenos dias a todos e todas. Presidente Lee Jang-woo, prefeito de Jeon, na figura de quem cumprimento todas as prefeitas e prefeitos aqui presentes. Senhora Emília Raiz, secretária-geral da CGLU, na pessoa de quem cumprimento todos os membros e toda a equipe dessa organização. Buenos dias a todos e todas. Gostaria, antes de mais nada, cumprimentar as autoridades da cidade de Tangier, do Reino de Marrocos, pela acolhida calorosa e pela excelente organização desse Congresso Mundial. Vivemos atualmente no mundo momentos desafiadores. Sou prefeito de Niterói, na província do Rio de Janeiro, do Brasil, e presidente do Mercocidades. Entendemos que as múltiplas crises que se acumulam trazem desafios enormes para as nossas cidades. A crise climática, que já vinha se apresentando há algumas décadas e vem se intensificando ao longo dos últimos anos, se soma aos conflitos armados e guerras em curso, aos ataques à democracia que temos visto em diversas partes do mundo, em um contexto de radicalização e de utilização das fake news para confundir as nossas populações. É em nossos territórios que essas crises se manifestam por meio dos seus impactos econômicos e sociais, e as consequências que geram para os nossos cidadãos. Nesse contexto, a cooperação entre as nossas cidades em nível global se torna ainda mais necessária. Diante de todos esses desafios que se apresentam, a cidade de Niterói, no Brasil, foi eleita para sediar, em maio de 2027, a 26ª Conferência do Observatório Internacional de Democracia Participativa, e propõe sediar, nessa ocasião, o próximo Burô Executivo da CGLU. O tema da 26ª Conferência da OIDP será Democracia em Rede, Inovação Digital para a Participação Cidadã e a Melhoria dos Serviços Públicos. Propomos debater sobre os seguintes temas: democracia em rede, inteligência artificial e o futuro da governança. Serviços públicos no século XXI, cidades conectadas ao mundo, democracia, clima e tecnologia. Gostaria de fazer alguns rápidos comentários sobre o tema do Burô Executivo, o diálogo do Pacto Social Local e a prestação de serviços públicos locais. Os trabalhadores do serviço público são componente essencial da prestação de serviços públicos locais, garantindo o acesso a serviços essenciais que salvam vidas, como vimos na pandemia do Covid-19. Defendem direitos, dignidade e igualdade e sustentam a resiliência dos nossos territórios. No entanto, sua contribuição é com frequência subvalorizada e suas condições de trabalho continuam desiguais, afetando diretamente a qualidade, a acessibilidade e sustentabilidade dos serviços que prestam. É fundamental estruturar o diálogo social visando fortalecer o reconhecimento dos trabalhadores e trabalhadoras do serviço público local como atores essenciais dentro do movimento municipalista. Devemos reiterar nosso compromisso com a promoção do trabalho decente, o reforço do cumprimento dos direitos trabalhistas, a livre organização dos trabalhadores e a melhoria da qualidade geral dos serviços públicos. O diálogo entre líderes políticos de governos locais e regionais e representantes dos trabalhadores do serviço público se faz necessário para aprofundar a reflexão e a luta sobre como os serviços públicos podem responder às crescentes demandas sociais e às atuais transições globais. Devemos reconhecer os serviços públicos como parte dos bens comuns locais, não apenas como recursos, mas como práticas coletivas enraizadas na solidariedade, no cuidado e nos direitos, visando garantir às nossas populações que nossas cidades sejam territórios inclusivos, democráticos e sustentáveis. Parabenizo mais uma vez a cidade de Tangier e a CGLU pela realização desse excelente Congresso Mundial e aguardo todas e todos vocês em maio de 2027, na cidade de Niterói, no Brasil. Muito obrigado.
감사합니다. 혹시 추가 질문 있으십니까? 혹시? 예, 없으시기 때문에 집행부의 결과 보고서를 채택을 요청드리도록 하겠습니다. 이에 앞서 2027년도 공식 일정과 관련한 사항에 대해서 여러분의 관심을 부탁드리고자 합니다. 이와 관련하여서 2027년 집행부 회의 개최 제안에 대해 설명해 주실 브라질 니테로이의 호드리고 네비스 시장님을 모시겠습니다. 네비스 시장님. 했어? 네. 그러면 그렇다면 이 법정위원회 결과 보고서를 채택해 주실 것을 집행부에 요청드리겠습니다. 존경하는 회원 여러분, 공식적으로 집행부 회의를 폐회하기에 앞서 이번 회의가 현 집행부가 개최하는 마지막 집행부 회의였다는 점을 말씀드리고자 합니다. 이번 임기 동안 집행부 구성으로서 활동해 주신 모든 지방정부 대표 여러분께 경의를 표합니다. 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 선거 절차를 넘어 집행부에 선임된 모든 대표분들은 연 2회 모여 우리 조직의 원활한 운영을 위한 주요 의사결정을 내리는 정치적 대표자들입니다. 또한 이번 새 임기에 다시 후보로 출마하시지 않는 분들께도 조직을 위한 헌신에 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 여러분 중 많은 분들이 대전 총회에서 선임되어 그 이후 지금까지 집행부 구성원으로 활동해 오셨습니다. 조직을 대표하여 그리고 회장단을 대표하여 여러분의 헌신과 기여에 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 존경하는 회원 여러분, 오늘 오후 이 장소에서 총회를 위해 다시 만나게 될 예정인데 앞으로도 여러분과 함께 우리 공동의 과업을 함께 이어나가기를 소망합니다. 감사합니다. 이로써 집행부 회의를 폐회하겠습니다. 감사합니다.